the hell?
I'm building an alliance.
Will you join us?
It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
Jeez.
All right, listen up. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast. Please don't mind me picking my nose before the show starts. This is your premier podcast for the NWA, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance, the spot that's been talking the NWA for the past 16, 17 years. And I don't do it alone, everybody. No. I have friends. And tonight, I have DKM. He's my friend, and he joins us live. We're here on YouTube, on Twitch, and on TikTok. DKM, how are you? Hello, DK. I can now.
All right. I don't know what was wrong. I'd say I'm surviving, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh no, that's the worst.
You know this, but for those out there that don't, I've been fighting with a cold for about the last week, and every time I think I'm getting better, it just like rears its ugly head again. And so I'll be doing fine, and then all of a sudden I'll have a sneezing fit. I'll be all stopped up. I'll have a sore throat, and it's like all I want to do is go to bed.
I hear that one. It's in my house right now. Got 5 total people living in the house, and 3 of them are under the weather. I myself have been under the weather, but a different kind of weather, so I guess I shouldn't complain. But that's not going to stop me. I have big plans and big dreams, and we're going to do them all. Daddy.
Do I know you?
Maybe.
If I did, would I admit to it?
You've been seen in public with me. Your face is on my shirt. That's you right there. I want to shout out Ben in the chat on TikTok. What's up, Ben? Thanks for liking the live. We are, I said, Ben. We are on YouTube. We're on TikTok, and we are on Twitch. And if it was possible, we'd go on more services too. But I guess we just limited to 3 at a time right now. I did something kind of cool last week. Can I talk about it for a minute?
You can talk about it for as long as you want. If you hear snoring, just, mute my mic.
So Friday last week, I left work a little bit early, and I drove down to the border, and I met some friends down in TJ, and we went to not only eat some delicious tacos, which some of the best tacos I've had in a while for sure, and affordable too, but I also went to the Lucha Libre Museum in TJ, And I'm going to put out a video of that at some point. But one of the cool things that this museum, it's not just for Lucha Libre, but it's mostly Lucha Libre, but it's also like toys and like some sophisticated ancient tech like Polaroid cameras. And it's a 3-story building, not far from like the main street in Tijuana, the Avenue Revolucion. And they had a really cool mural of former NWA Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa right outside the building. And it's completely decked out with Lucha Libre, Luchadores, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. And we got a little bit of the history of it. The place started out as they started off with the owner, who's still the original owner, started off with just 4 Lucha Libre action figures. And they actually had a photo of it in the little ring surrounded by like thousands of luchadors that he's collected over the years. There's ticket stubs. There's a wall of masks. There is the thing that I found a little bit eerie was they had a wall of over 100, maybe even closer to 150 locks of hair. Now, those locks of hair had a corresponding card and information about which wrestler lost that hair in a match. And as I was talking to my friends about that, I'm like, the first one I couldn't.
I got to interrupt here for a second.
Sure.
You realize what you're saying sounds like when they find the den of the psycho murderer in some,
100%. 100%. And the first thing I said to my buddy was like, okay, for a museum, that's kind of cool. This is a Lucha Libre historic museum. That's really cool that they have that hair. But thinking about this guy started his collection with 4 action figures and acquired this stuff. The first time somebody got that hair, like, okay, that's a little weird. But when we were at the 75th anniversary show, a couple of the guys grabbed parts of the broken keyboard to keep. The keyboard that Camille broke over Markova's head. That was fine. That was okay. So I kind of felt like this was similar to that. But like 1 lock of hair, okay. But now like 2 locks of hair, 3 locks of hair, 4 locks of hair, 5 locks of hair. Now that's kind of scary. And if you don't have that museum yet, you're just keeping those for some time later. You're right. That's homicide. I can't say that word. That's real weird stuff. That is incredibly weird and eerie, and I was very uncomfortable with that. Fortunately, yeah.
Well, go ahead and finish your story, then I'll ask you.
Okay, so then they had like all of the lucha masks. Any luchador you could think of, they had the masks there, and it wasn't like a cheap knockoff that you get in front of the auditorium, but like genuine masks of the wrestlers. They had like a Rey Mysterio exhibit, Rey Mysterio Jr., but Rey Mysterio where it had like every action figure from his time in WCW, the WWE, the figures that they've made from AAA and all that stuff, the CMLL stuff. They had a statue or mannequin wearing the Jushin Thunder Liger, the whole outfit. It looked really cool. And they had a couple of those. They had like a little spot for Blue Demon and Blue Demon Jr. They had titles. They had the old Mexican welterweight championship that looks very similar to the 10 pounds of gold, that domed globe, this look right here. And it was really interesting, very fascinating. And I think if anyone's going to Tijuana to check out, some Lucha Libre at the auditorium, this is a must stop because it's really kind of cool. And that was I never had done it before, and I've been to TJ at least probably about 10 times in the last 4 years, and it was really it was cool to see all this stuff. Normally when I go to the auditorium for the Lucha Libre, I will literally just cross the border, get in an Uber, go to the auditorium, watch the show, get back in the Uber, cross the border, go home. I'm like 2.5 hours away from Mexico. This time I actually spent some time in TJ. It was really fun and interesting, and I recommend everyone try it out. But what was your question?
When you're saying, "Oh, I can't say that," aren't some of the rules of what you can and can't say getting a little bit ridiculous?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's dumb what you can and cannot say when we are supposed to be in a platform that's free, to express ideas and stuff. But in order to maintain my status on both platforms, both TikTok and YouTube and Twitch, they don't like certain words, and to be compliant, I'm gonna adhere to those rules. Like, the thing about being on TikTok or even YouTube is I don't have I don't have to pay to be on here, right? Like I'm able to broadcast my voice freely, but I still have to adhere to their terms and conditions. That's the trade-off of using that platform. So if they don't want me to say certain words, I don't have a problem adhering to that, because this is their platform that they're affording me. This isn't, I'm not paying for this airtime. I'm not paying to be on TikTok or on YouTube. So it's kind of like, terms and conditions. Same thing. You can't say things on Meta either. There's certain things that you can't say or you can't post, or you could be blocked or banned or whatever. So I agree. I don't want to get too much into politics, but that I'm very liberal. But I'm also at times not very PC. But to be compliant with the social media outlets that we're on, I try to be on my best behavior.
I mean, I understand the concept, and I understand why some of the things that are banned, but and everything. But like, I was watching something the other day. Somebody was doing a YouTube clip, and they were talking about certain person from another country who was charged with a certain type of assault, let's say.
Okay.
If you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And, it's like they're reporting news. They're trying to say what the person had been indicted on. And it's like they couldn't. And it was just like, yeah, I understand you may not want a particular word used, but in this particular case, it's used in the context of a news story and a reality of the world.
Yeah.
And it's almost ridiculous that, and not just can't say it, can't spell it out in the thing. They have to put the asterisk in for one of the letters or something like that. And it's just like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, if you're on the platform, you follow the platform's rules. That's life. But it's just, I just find it interesting that, I can drop the occasional F-bomb, but, the person reporting the news can't use a phrase or word.
Oh, yeah. And that's the other thing too. And we love TikTok. I love you, TikTok. They are very it's kind of confusing on what you can and cannot say. Like, I can call someone the F word and it's no big deal, but if I tell them I'm gonna F them up, then that's like preaching, hate or whatever, violence, or threatening, and that could get me knocked out. So we have to be, I have to choose my words carefully, because you guys are on here right now. You have to be kind of careful, but if they choose to remove me because of the content of the show, then they remove me from the content of the show. I don't feel like I'm too concerned about where we're at with YouTube, but that's just how it goes. Real quick, before we go any more forward with the show, I do want to say what's up to the people in the chat. Got a couple people hanging out with us on TikTok, so I want to say what's up to WWE Clips, Alex Rosing, and Ringside Riley, who just popped in. Ringside Riley, big slime balls guy. Then we've got Noob on our YouTube channel. Noob says, good evening, Alliance Crew. How you doing? Noob, we're doing good, man. I'm doing okay. DK's hanging in there. But, we appreciate you hanging out with us on this Thursday night. Willie is saying what's up to Noob. Impact 88 says, are they going to have the Nattie Neidhart match on the next episode? Impact, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Nattie is going to be on Power. I think, although it was not advertised as such, I think that it was just for the live audience, and I don't think that the NWA has the plan to release that match, which means you got to find it on YouTube, because I know there's a lot of big time NWA fans that have shared that match on YouTube, so you might want to check that out.
And by playing, you mean permission.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't genuinely know. Sean Vega's over on TikTok. I don't genuinely know what happened, right? And that's the thing. The NWA has never been very transparent under Billy Corgan's ownership. So it might be that they don't have the availability to release it. They might not have negotiated that when they got Natalia's WWE's permission to use Natalya in an NWA match. I don't really know the set of circumstances. When they agreed to that match, the NWA was on X. Maybe the WWE didn't have a problem with having their talent on X, but because Roku is not a platform that the WWE currently has product on, maybe they didn't want to have that. There's a lot of reasons. In the Discord, on our Alliance Blog Discord, which the link is in the video description here on YouTube, and you guys are welcome to join. We love having you guys there. The idea came up like, well, why would they even bring in Nattie if they weren't going to put it on TV? And that's the thing. I have been to a lot of wrestling shows over the years, and some of my favorite ones were matches that featured people that I wasn't supposed to see at a live event. Back in probably like in 2005, maybe even 2004. My memory is a little foggy. There used to be Dave Marquez produced New Japan USA, not New Japan Strong, but New Japan USA. And this was a program that aired locally on like a UHF channel here in Southern California. And a couple of the episodes made it to the Japanese market as well. And it was like a hybrid of what New Japan is and a hybrid of what Championship Wrestling from Hollywood would eventually become. It was so weird. You had CM Punk doing commentary. Samoa Joe was recognized as the Ring of Honor World Champion and defended the title on those shows. He had an excellent match against Togi Makabe back in the day. But one match that they advertised that I went because I absolutely wanted to see was Ultimo Dragon versus Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. Now, this was before Bryan Danielson had done any NXT stuff. He had not been, outside of his deal with Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy, had nothing to do with the WWE up until this point. And Ultimo Dragon was fresh being released from the WWE, and he was still under his no-compete clause. So he couldn't go do TV anywhere else. So they brought him in, and it was a non-televised match, and it was phenomenal. No one saw it, and they advertised it as a non-televised match, and they kept true to their word. Several years later, Dave Marquez would bring Samoa Joe in, who was still under TNA contract. And he wrestled Willie Mack here in Southern California, which was a huge draw for SoCal wrestling. But nobody got to see that match on the TV show because, again, Joe was working with TNA, didn't have permission to be on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood's television show. So all of that to be, go back to Nattie, I could see a world where maybe they never were going to put Nattie on the card. But I feel like if that was the case, they should have advertised that. And maybe even got more people to come to the show because a lot of people were very excited about that match. That was the match that got me to go to Philly. I wasn't necessarily planning to go. I was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen with the 77 anniversary show, where it was going to be. But as soon as Nattie was announced for the Crockett Cup, that's when I booked my ticket. What's up, Rick? How you doing, sir?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are y'all?
Good. We were just talking about Nattie Neihart not apparently not going to be making the broadcast for Power,
At all.
and it doesn't appear that way. And the only what I was just saying is perhaps maybe they didn't have the rights because of the network changed. It wasn't going to be on X anymore. Now it's on Roku. Maybe it was never negotiated. But this was announced. This was declared the finale of the Crockett Cup, and we never got to see it.
Gigantic mistake on the NWA's part, if you ask me. But for not trying to get that rolling, just an opinion. But
yeah, no, I agree. DK, I'm sure you have something to say about it.
Who, me?
The only
you.
DK I know.
Well, why would I have anything to say about it? What can I possibly say that, other than the fact that it's raining?
It's a cloud for you to yell at.
It's okay if they don't have permission, and it's okay if they couldn't negotiate that. What's wrong is not stating that.
Agreed.
And just totally ignoring it throughout this upcoming thing. I mean, I realize they sold out or whatever, but man, don't you think I would have pushed that to don't you think I would have pushed that it was only won't be seen on TV, blah blah blah. And so, the question, I'm going to work under the assumption that it was always known and understood, and they just didn't tell us. But it comes across like you stupid idiots.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, not me, but that was kind of how I felt about it too, because again, there was so many people interested in that match. Jaden, who doesn't necessarily watch the Power episodes, goes to what's that app called? Holy crap, I forgot it. Reddit. Thank you. Jeez, I couldn't even remember. He goes to Reddit all the time just to see what people are talking about when it comes to the NWA. And that's all anyone was talking about was this Nattie Neihart match. And again, I said it from the very get-go, when the show launched on Roku, like that should have been the premiere match. It should have been the very first thing that I want anyone to see is that match right there. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen week 1 or week 2 or week 3. And here it is a month later, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen at all. And
it's not. They've said this is the last episode from Crockett Cup.
And I mean, look, maybe it might make an appearance later on. Maybe we might see it on
it's not happening.
YouTube.
It'll be the Christmas special.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't know, so I can't say anything with certainty, right? Like we don't know, and the NWA is not transparent enough to tell us. So,
yeah, well, I was going to say we don't know because they're not telling us.
The thing with this is that if they didn't have the rights, they somebody just said in the chat, GCW has had featured Nattie Neihart and Bloodsport on their live events, which aired on pay-per-view or Triller, if you want to consider that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Streaming platforms. So why can the NWA not put this on Roku? What's the big deal? And this Nattie Neihart, it's not like right now, I don't feel like WWE's like really featuring her that heavy on the main programming.
In fact, she's been in NXT recently more than the
guys. I wouldn't even know. I haven't watched NXT. Yeah, she
has her second match in AAA through the WWE relationship this Friday. She's had 2 matches at GCW. She worked for Reality of Wrestling, and she did the NWA show. All of that stuff seemed to get televised. I don't know how come the NWA weren't able to secure that bag if that's the case.
Okay, what were the groups again?
Reality of Wrestling, which is Booker T's WWE
so that's
ID.
Booker T, so that's why.
That's a WWEID program. So
Exactly.
Yep.
Game Changer Wrestling.
Okay.
Again, loosely affiliated.
They featured multiple WWE ID matches, and I think they even had the tournament to crown the ID champion.
They hosted night one of the tournament. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, so there is a relationship there. Although, like, let's be honest, it was the blood sport, which is even a little bit more removed from GCW because that's like the whole Josh Barnett thing that GCW produces.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, like, they've had other WWE talent on those blood sport events. Charlie Dempsey from NXT, TNA's Masha Slamovich has been on. It's not like it was a one-off. You know,
the Creeds were on there.
Yeah,
everybody's been on there. Yeah.
Do you want to hear my conspiracy theory?
Let's hear. I love conspiracy theories.
Let's hear this.
If it's not really a conspiracy theory.
We need to invite the sunglass fella back for a conspiracy theory. Sorry, bad joke.
Oh, Adam Rosella. Sorry, that was good. That was very funny. I like that. Good job.
My conspiracy theory, so to speak, is that there is probably a fee involved.
Yep.
Because it makes it sound like getting Nattie kind of fell into their lap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my guess is that there was probably a fee involved to air it. And for whatever the reason, probably they don't make money as it is. Billy wasn't willing to pay the fee.
Makes sense.
That is my guess. And that might be a good business decision. You know, but that's going to be my guess, is that there's probably a fee involved, and Billy probably was unwilling to pay the fee, which I don't think should be looked at as a bad thing yet, because, you know, we don't know anything again.
Our pal Sean Mega on TikTok said Nattie also lost in the NWA, where, you know, obviously AAA doesn't count. AAA is a part of the NWA at this point. NXT is part of the. Oh yeah, sorry. Excuse me. Pardon me. Yeah, AAA is part of the WWE at this point. TNA has this close affiliation with the WWE. NXT obviously is a WWE brand, so for Nattie to go and lose in those places, not a big deal. The whole Josh Barnett thing, I think she won her matches there. Maybe there's something to the fact that she took the L at the NWA.
Try to keep her strong and as a strong representative of the E.
Yeah,
and that's why I think they should have put the belt on her, but that's another story altogether.
Well, I mean, and obviously you couldn't put the belt on her if you can't.
You can't hire her over and over, bring her in as a regular, you know.
Well, I mean, first of all, and I've heard this from more than one source, the NWA had almost no say, no nothing. It was basically like, if you want to use Nattie, we'll give her to you for a show. And then probably it's like, well, we can put her against our women's champion, but we need to, you know, whatever, our champion will have to go over or something like that. And they're probably like, we don't like that, but, you know, sure. And they were probably like, yeah, and if you want to show that, it's $100,000. Making up a number, you know.
Sure.
And they're probably like, you know what? We don't need to show it. As long as we can advertise that she's going to be there. Yeah, you can advertise it.
Yeah. Yeah. and that makes a lot of sense because look, and I said early on in the podcast, yeah, maybe they just, you know, wanted to sell more tickets. And that's all that they needed to do. That was literally the linchpin to get me to buy my ticket, to jump on an airplane, to talk about, you know, the NWA and all of that. And even one of the questions I asked Billy Corgan during the Q&A was like, will we see more WWE talent? And he was very hesitant. And of course, you know, he said, this kind of fell into our lap. So, I mean, maybe he's right. Maybe that what may, or what I'm saying is, DK, maybe you were right. Maybe they're like, this was a freebie. We didn't have to pay for this, and we're enjoying this, just having her on the show because she's going to sell tickets for us. We don't have to air it on TV because we got what we needed out of it.
And they were able to do the angle with Bloodsport, and
Yep.
I mean, they had a lot of advantages, but again, this is where a positive turns into a negative because you're not sharing enough.
Yeah.
And we'll talk maybe a little bit more about some of that. Because I think one of the things we got to cover in the wrestling world, when we just cover the wrestling world, is AJ Lee coming back.
Yeah.
And
Rick,
anyway.
I'm thrilled about that.
Well, I actually stayed and tuned in for 2 hours just to see if it would actually happen. And needless to say, I stayed awake 2 extra hours. I should have been in bed at 8 p.m. Eastern. So,
I understand. I can understand that. I can relate
it was
that.
Actually, because I told you, I think I mentioned I actually sat down to watch SmackDown for the first time in months, many, many months. And I actually enjoyed Cena and Sami Zayn. It was kind of a fun match, but it wasn't nothing. But like the thing with WWE is every time there's something good going on, it's always got to be ruined by like a disqualification and somebody interfering.
Yeah.
I guess that's the way modern professional wrestling works in most cases. So,
well, especially for the TV shows.
It's aggravating, but
yeah, I did not watch SmackDown. I caught everything on WWE's YouTube channel like that evening and the next day. The funny thing about it was I didn't even realize that some of what they were showing, because they were still using the normal production cameras.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that some of the stuff that they were showing wasn't on air. Like when she was skipping around the ring with the belt and all that.
Yeah.
That wasn't on air. That they just kept the cameras rolling, and it was part of their YouTube thing.
Right.
But I just kind of wanted to, I was an AJ Lee quasi fan back in the day. I didn't really like anything about WWE, and I wasn't really a fan of Crazy AJ when she was like with Dolph Ziggler and then
right.
feuding. But when she kind of became the anti-diva and she was criticizing the Divas division and, won the championship and all that stuff while being very critical of the Divas, I liked that. And so I was watching through that frame, and I remember her losing to Paige, and then there was kind of that double turn, and she won it, won the title back from Paige, and then left because of CM Punk and all that. So I was interested in seeing her come back. And then for Raw, I had Raw on in the background, and I can't tell you anything that happened on Raw except for the AJ Lee part.
Oh, see, I tuned into Raw. I saw the Usos come out standing in the ring, so I just shut it off. I made it about 60 seconds into the show. I said, I can't with this show. Like, they're just they just don't do it for me. And like,
apparently, it ended on kind of a weird angle at the end with Jey Uso, and I didn't fully follow what it was. It just, apparently something, because I turned it off after the AJ leaks. That's the only thing I wanted to see.
Right. And
so I found it funny. I was listening to some YouTube clips of Jim Cornette today. And
you mentioned the name and he got cut off.
Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay.
I hear you now.
Quiet for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what happens sometimes there's a lag, and I can see it when you guys lag, but I don't see it when I'm the one that lags.
Right. Yeah.
And but anyway, so listening to Jim Cornette, he didn't know AJ Lee from before because he wasn't watching WWE and that thing, but he was just talking about the setup, and he goes, WWE had done a really good job of this. He goes, the fans were almost like a paid part of the show They responded the way they needed to respond. They, acted the way they needed to act. In her Raw promo, she said something about therapy, and the fans shouted therapy. And when Becky Lynch came down, and I've not been a fan of Becky Lynch since she came back. And some people were going, "Oh, this is her best work ever." It's like, no, it's not. I mean, her best work ever was when she first became the man. But kind of this like crazy person that she's starting to do here, where AJ Lee is like, yeah, I kind of like this. And so, she was screaming and stuff like that, became unhinged at one point in the thing. And so the fans started chanting therapy at her. And it was just like so funny. And it was just like, they're building a story here.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have any extra things yet. We haven't seen, barbed wire bats, or we're not being rushed into a no disqualification cage match,
Sure.
Or anything. It's just Becky had left her belt in the ring on Friday. She took it, so she's there Monday with it. Becky wants it back, and she's like basically saying, "Oh, well, you can either come in the ring and get it, or you and your husband can agree to a tag team match at WrestlePalooza. Me and him versus you and your husband, or whatever."
Right.
Well, and I think,
but it's a simple mixed tag team match. What we really want to see is, she wrote a book, something about crazy being her superpower. So they've been going with that, and she's still doing her skipping and all that. And it's kind of weird. She's your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. If you haven't been around, if you didn't know her from 10 years ago.
My other thing with that is that I think it's like an age thing. Like, maybe I'm too old to be a fan of hers. Like, I don't, like, maybe I wasn't like, it was like the younger people were friends of hers at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is if I'm making any kind of sense whatsoever? I don't know if I am or not. Because there's a lot. I'm sorry, Jay, but there's a lot of people that are flipping out and so excited. I'm just like, to me, my age, I was just like, to me, she wasn't very memorable. She was just there. She's kind of cute. She was Punk's wife, that kind of thing. I just remember her. Wasn't she in a storyline with Mickey James at one point?
Probably. But
Yeah.
I think you hit the biggest nail. She's married to CM Punk.
Yes.
CM Punk's currently feuding with Seth Rollins.
Right. So it makes sense to add her into the equation. Yeah.
Right. And so, she has fallen into a top feud storyline, but she makes sense in the top feud storyline.
Well, and I think it's also by design too, because let's be honest. Would either of you be excited to see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins again for the world title?
Yeah, because I think there's. I'm sorry, DK, but yeah, because I think there's something. The book hasn't been closed yet. The chapter hasn't been closed yet. It hasn't been completed because,
But as soon as you run that match back, though, then you're done. You need to move on.
Yes,
and
it's either Punk takes the title or he doesn't. One or the other. And then it's not.
I don't 100% know that that's true. They did a great job of booking CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, where we finally had the blow off in a Hell in a Cell match. And depending on what they do, they're going to stretch this out over time, because my guess is this is the WrestleMania match.
Yeah, and I think it's the WrestleMania match. But again, if you would have gotten Punk and Seth Rollins at WrestlePalooza, now where do you go from that? Because now you got to have the next guy in line challenge for the world title, and the next guy in line challenge for the world title, and whether
it all depends on what happens. How the match at WrestlePalooza goes. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something that either keeps the story open and makes people wanting. How many times? Think about this. How many times did Brock and Roman wrestle over like a 4-year period, 3 or 4 year period? Right? Probably 20 times, I'm guessing.
do you think so okay, and maybe I'm alone in thinking this. I think like we saw the cash in. Obviously there's bad blood there. You also have LA Knight who's in the picture. You've got Jey Uso in the picture. You've got at some point Gunther's going to return and be in that title picture. If you give me CM Punk today or in a couple of weeks at WrestlePalooza versus Seth Rollins, if he doesn't win, on to the next. I want to see Jey Uso and Rollins. I want to see LA Knight and Seth Rollins. I want to see Gunther and Seth Rollins.
I will agree with that aspect in that you can leave the door open but still move on. Because then what you're setting up is Royal Rumble.
Right.
Remember, it took Cody a year and 2 Royal Rumble wins to finally get Roman in the ring and beat him. First time he lost. And it took a year. They were trying, they never touched each other for a year, but that was the feud.
Right.
Yeah. And again, I just think you also need to let it breathe too.
Right.
They're not doing as many live events. They have a whole bunch of people that they're trying to push and maintain and get people over. And whatever the direction goes, to me, this extends the feud because now they can wrestle for something that's important, which is, husband and wife pride. And it's not a title match. It still allows the title to be seen, but not heard, if that makes sense. And, the other matches that will be on that card will be more important. Obviously, I think like a Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. They haven't mentioned a Cody Rhodes match yet, I don't think, for WrestlePalooza. We might not get a world title match at WrestlePalooza, at least not a men's world title.
Well, Cody is supposed to be there. According to Triple H, Cody's going to be there. They have not yet said what he's going to be doing. Most people are betting he'll take on McIntyre. Because that would be, for those that don't know what's going on, and I only know from watching YouTube, is McIntyre took Cody out, which is like, because Cody had to be written off TV.
Right.
He's filming a movie, right?
Right. Him and Roman are in the same movie, which is why Roman was written off TV. And so
it's going to be a good movie, I guess.
Yes.
True wrestler. Yeah. That was my favorite game back in the day at the arcade.
So anyway, but probably either this coming SmackDown or whatever they'll do. And, good news for Devin is that Devin will get to see it because Disney allowed Devin to convert his ESPN Plus bundle of Disney, Hulu, and ESPN Plus to Disney, Hulu, and ESPN Unlimited for the same amount of money for a year.
All right.
So at least for a year, I get to be a part of it.
Oh, there you go. All right. Now, Jaden's joined us. And so, Jaden, real quick, hot take. What do you think about AJ Lee returning to the WWE?
I'm happy about it. The only thing I don't like about AJ Lee is her song. That song just drives me nuts. It's always annoyed me. But she can cut a promo. She could wrestle. She's got the good gimmick. She's the prototypical psycho girl that, like Alexa Bliss and others, try to follow. And was somebody who was outspoken, who stood up for the divas and became women wrestlers. She was really part of the women's revolution in a way. She was the true catalyst, no matter who else tries to take credit for it. And I'm actually happy to see it. I was also hoping you guys would have had Power over with by the time I got here.
No, we were saving it for you.
We were waiting just so you would have to suffer.
Yeah, you guys should do it without me from now on, because I'm going to be late all the time, so I don't have to suffer.
Yeah, there's no fun in that.
So I didn't get a chance to watch it either, Jaden. So
it'll just be DK and I talking about. Well, Jaden was there live, so he kind of has perspective.
It's only 2 matches.
Yeah. Real quick, because we like to laugh here on the show. good friend of the show, Mr. Willie Bone, who's not a WWE fan or WWF fan for the matter.
He hates that World Wildlife Foundation.
I'm not a big fan of him either. He brings up the fact that Tyrus never lost in a hair versus hair match. That wasn't the joke I was hoping for, Willie. Like, Tyrus has never wrestled in a hair versus hair match, as far as I know.
He wrestled in a hair versus talent match and obviously lost that.
Yeah, well. And then Sean Mega says, well, Willie, WWE did acknowledge the NWA, which is true. They did acknowledge it. Even most recently, they even talked about Nattie being on NWA's Crockett Cup. I don't think they said much more than she appeared for the NWA, but yeah, I mean, it was acknowledged. Sean Mega said, WWE talk? I'm shocked. Well, it's not our look. Hundreds of podcasts are talking about the WWE. That's for sure. We try to specialize in the NWA because it's, less people are out there talking about the NWA. And
they need the coverage. They need the coverage.
They do. And, as long as Billy keeps sending me a check just kidding. What is this on the ground? Oh,
it's funny the WWE will acknowledge that match. How come the NWA hasn't?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We were talking about that earlier, and we kind of came to the conclusion that either they didn't negotiate for television rights when they signed it, that maybe Nattie worked for free, but the WWE wanted to charge the NWA to air the match. I don't know.
Maybe they'll shut up on WWE television because technically they still own rights to put NWA footage on there.
Oh, there you go. Sean Mega says Billy should send you a check. You guys deserve it. Bless your heart, Sean. And I mean that in a nice way, not the old Southern way. I meant that in a nice way.
They don't send him a check because of me and DKM.
Well, look, I think there has definitely been an evolution of J-Cal over the last 16 years, 17 years, where I was always trying to put a positive spin on what the NWA was doing. But I feel like then and now, when something sucks, I'm pretty straightforward and tell you, like, I think this sucks. And there's times where I like something and you guys don't, and that's okay too. That's different than, me just saying everything sucks. But I feel like I've been pretty balanced when it comes to the NWA. When something's good, I acknowledge it and I celebrate it. And when it's bad, I'll be the first one to say, like, what the fuck is this, because there's no point in watching a program that you don't enjoy, and it's hard to talk about a program that when it's done poorly.
The only person here who's ever received a check for the NWA was DKM.
Well, your boss did too, because he put on that NWA title match.
He didn't get no pay for that.
What a sucker!
All he got was some controversy.
Oh man, most hated man in the NWA for a short time. All right. Well, with that being said, I know DK just kind of took a break for a second, so he'll be back in a minute. We did get the first, take this a different direction. And I mentioned this on Tuesday's show, but I'd like to hear your guys' reaction to it. Quietly, Max the Impaler has announced their departure from the National Wrestling Alliance with a very cryptic tweet that they put out on X, which, again, why are we calling it X when we still say it's a tweet? And
is it, real quick, is it their THEIR or is it THEY''RE in this case?
Yes. Max said on X, I am no longer with NWA. I am thankful for my time there and everyone that supported me. For now, that is all I have to say.
Tragic.
I have mixed feelings about this because I don't feel like there was anything more for Max to do in the National Wrestling Alliance. I feel, unfortunately for Max, their time in the NWA probably hurt their career as opposed to accelerating it or benefiting it. And that's even including the fact that Max held both the men's and women's television titles simultaneously, I still feel like that's a net negative for Max, because in the grand scheme of things, Max the Impaler to me was always an attraction, a special attraction, I should say. I want to clarify that. Max was there to draw tickets and give you something that you don't normally see in a wrestling ring. Once Max won the title, that meant inherently Max was going to lose the title. And once Max lost the title, there's nothing now special about Max. The thing, Max should have never lost a match. And in Japan, Max works for TJPW, which is a Joshi promotion. In Japan, Max wrestles against women. What makes Max unique is their size, their ability in the ring. And when Max is wrestling in the NWA, Max is wrestling men who are as big, if not bigger than Max. What's the appeal? What's the draw? What's special about that?
I think it's best for everybody, honestly.
Yeah.
NWA's never used Max to Max's capability. Max got under in the NWA, in my opinion, not over. I don't think now that Max is gone, that opens up a roster spot for somebody else who maybe could mean something to the NWA. And I still stand by that Max got Max's push because of what was that person's name? Effie was said about the NWA, because that Max's push didn't come beforehand, and it didn't look like Max was going to be pushed like Max was until Effie said something. So I will stand by that. I might be wrong. I have no proof. Just like there's no 20-year plan, there's no proof, but I stand by it, and I think that's true. And until I can have something to show me otherwise, and people telling me he's not going to show me, because people tell me all kinds of things that aren't true, especially in the NWA. But and they tell me a lot of things that are true. But I fully believe that Max can now team with maybe Sarah Logan and become a Viking tag team, and maybe go to another promotion and really dominate as a tag team wrestler and make something of themselves, because the NWA wasn't going to do it. They weren't going to do it right. They don't have an idea how to do much when it comes to putting talent over. Some people get themselves over. And I will stand by the fact, too, that the NWA talent that's got themselves over, not despite the NWA's booking, not because of it. And I think Max did not have the experience to know how to get Max over, despite the NWA's booking, and very few people honestly do and have that ability to do such a thing. So I believe, again, this is better for everybody. It sucks that Max is losing a paycheck, but I think Max can probably pick it up somewhere else.
Well, and sorry guys, I just stepped away for a second. Max is still competing for TJPW. I'm sure, in the past, Max has worked for, Game Changer Wrestling. So if Max were to appear in either one of those promotions, I would not be surprised. Sean Mega mentioned MLW. I mean, none of that would shock me at all. But I'm just, I think Max could also probably just have a very good career in Japan working for TJPW, and let's celebrate some of the cool things that Max did. Max took the Women's Television Championship to Finland and to Japan and defended it for the first time. It's a new title with a very young history associated with it. Max took it to Finland and to Japan. That's something that most of the NWA titles will probably never see. Max also, competed in two of the last Crockett Cups. With Max didn't compete in this year's Crockett Cup. Max appeared at the 2023 and 2024, teaming with the artist formerly known as Judas. And for what it's worth, I mean, as somebody who represents as non-binary, that was quite a platform that the NWA gave to Max. And to what you were saying, Jaden, yeah, it just kind of, it didn't long-term work out. But I think in the interim, Max did get some notoriety. But at the end of the day, when you take an L and take an L and you take an L, at some point the viability and the suspension of disbelief and all this stuff kind of just fades into obscurity. Rick, do you have any points you want to make on that?
No, I think that Max could go elsewhere and be employed, whether it be AEW, TNA, WWE. I was not, jeez, I can't even talk. I was never really convinced. I thought that the push was pretty strong when they came in, but then, after a while, it just kind of fizzled out, and I literally just didn't care whatsoever. Not that I cared before, it just seemed like I cared less. Like it just seemed like they weren't even trying anymore after like that first title run, it seemed. So once they lost the titles, it just seemed that nothing mattered. Like they were just there, going in a TV match, and then that was pretty much it. Kind of like I don't want to say it's so not friendly, but kind of like in a washed up type of way,
Yeah. Max made their debut on the Power Trip 2 NWA Power episode number 64 by defeating Ella Envy. Max would team with Chelsea Green to beat Genocide and Misa Kate on NWA Power number 69. Max would defeat Ella Envy and Taya Valkyrie on NWA Power 72. Max would win the Mildred Burke Invitational Gauntlet at the 74th anniversary show. Max would lose to Camille for the world title at the following night at 74, night number 2. The whole Queen Bee first round thing that was ridiculous. Max was part of that, and it ended in a no contest. Max had their first match in the men's division on NWA USA as part of a TV title qualifying 5-way match that also included Caprice Coleman, Rush Freeman, the Pope, and eventual winner Jordan Clearwater. Max would have victories against Markova and Taryn Terrell. Max beat Markova at NWA Hard Times in New Orleans. DK and I were both there for that match. I'm reading all these matches just to kind of prove, like, look, Max had a pretty good run in the NWA. And even against men, Max had victories over, like, Magic Jake Dumas and, as part of the Miserably Faithful, defeated Gags and Sal. And, we forget about this, but in the Crockett Cup 2023, Judeus and Max beat Hale Collins and Vic Delicious as part of the Now. They had some pretty decent victories in their time in the NWA, and but once the belts were taken off of them, it just kind of seemed to be less important.
Honestly, I didn't care once Max lost to Camille, and they didn't build Max back up to be a serious challenger after that. That was the last I had any at all caring about Max, and it's wins don't mean push.
Right.
People don't realize, like, there's so much stuff when it comes to being a star and making somebody a star. Wins could be part of it. You can make somebody a star and loss. Just ask Steve Austin. But you have to know how to do it. And, the NWA gave Max wins, but didn't make, after the match with Camille, did not make Max seem credible in any way, in my opinion, even with a win over Kenzie. And the only match I ever liked that I thought was good Max match that I've seen was against Camille. And I credit Camille more than I do Max.
Interesting.
I will say Camille had a lot of good matches during those days. But I kind of want to get into something Jaden was saying there as we talk about this. Is, wins don't mean push doesn't mean over. There's a lot of stuff that kind of goes on. But I think one of the things that Jaden and I talked about earlier this week is, once a star doesn't mean forever a star.
Mm-hmm.
and you can think about that in any industry. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence was, or whatever her name was once the golden girl in females movie roles, and then she disappeared. Can't remember.
Wait, are you telling me Jennifer Lawrence is not a star anymore? Because I still like her.
It's not a matter of liking or not liking, but you tell me the last big movie she was in.
I still like Eric Estrada, but he hasn't been a star since the early 80s.
Yeah, I mean, and music.
Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's music. How many stars in the 80s that haven't OD are still relevant? And not many.
I can't think of one.
And a lot of them aren't alive.
I can think of a lot of them that are not.
Yeah, and it's just, but I mean, even by the end, Michael Jackson, he was still kind of a superstar, but it was more just personality thing. He hadn't had.
He was just living off of like his past, you know what I mean, and still making money off royalties and just living off his past stardom. He hadn't done anything and God knows how many years, not recorded or a video or anything. He was just kind of living in his little castle or whatever they call it, Neverland Ranch. Yeah.
And he, Prince, by the end, he was direct marketing because he could make more money that way.
His whole thing was that he, at one point, stated that he had so much music in the vault, he never had to record an album ever again. He could just put them together. He had enough to last the rest of his life. I don't think he counted on dying that young either, though. But I mean, going way further. So that's how much there's lots of stuff in the Prince vault that have never been released as well.
Sure. And some of it probably will be his
at some point.
His sister is a better business person than he was.
Yeah.
And but I mean, by the end he would direct market his albums. He would sell them, digital downloads off his site or whatever.
Right.
He kept them off anything, every platform he could. If you had a video where there just happened to be a Prince song playing in the background because you were somewhere out or your sister was playing it or whatever, and his people found out about it, they would copyright it. And
Sean Mega brought up just something interesting. People still impersonating Michael Jackson. There's a wrestler wrestling as Michael Jackson. I forgot his name, but
Santana Jackson or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
There's a lot of politicians that emulate a lot of stuff that Michael Jackson did.
Well, in other words, there are people that are impersonating Michael.
Am I the only one? Yeah.
You can hire a Michael Jackson impersonator. You know what else you can hire? A Disney princess.
Yeah, because they're still stars, DK. They're still stars.
No, they're not.
Disney princesses aren't stars?
When was the last time you saw Baloo or Baloo's not a princess, but I'm trying to think of a Disney princess. When is the last time you saw the girl from the Jungle Book somewhere in Disney making a star
She
power?
ain't a princess, bro.
She was.
Snow White.
She was the princess of that village.
Well, and look what happened. They redid Snow White, and I watched the movie finally, and I did not like it. Not for all the reasons that people were talking about, but because it wasn't good. And the name alone didn't do it. And I think that's but people can fall out. They cannot be stars. REO Speedwagon played weddings.
All right. That's where we end that conversation.
What's up with that? I mean, didn't Jesse Ventura hang out with them? That's how tough that REO Speedwagon were.
Maybe.
You never saw them meet. All right.
The other news that the NWA recently broke, and there's two more pieces before we'll get to Power, but we have Matt Cardona returning to the National Wrestling Alliance for Samhain.
I hope he's putting over Thrillbilly. It's the only thing he's good for.
Well, they
It
haven't.
would be a wise choice, personally. Sorry, Jay. Sorry.
No, you're fine. They haven't announced what role he's going to play. They haven't even announced a match. Just the fact that he's coming back. Again, with these things, we were just talking about the 77th anniversary show, and it was near Long Island. And how could they not have had Matt Cardona on that event? Now they're going to Atlanta, Georgia, which is very famously known for all the Matt Cardona wrestling that's taking place in Atlanta, Georgia. So, if he's there to, put over the Thrillbilly or to wrestle for that 10 pounds of gold, I think that would be an interesting way to use him. But it's also been kind of done to death. He wrestled recently against Tom Latimer at Maple Leaf Pro for the 10 pounds of gold. He unsuccessfully challenged for the title when Trevor Murdoch had it. It was a triple threat, Trevor Murdoch and Tyrus and Matt Cardona. I don't know. Did he challenge EC3 for the title? Do you guys remember?
Oh,
yeah. Wasn't that the death match they started?
Yes, absolutely. You're right. So he
challenged Tyrus for his one-on-one. They have milked the I never lost the title thing for like every time there's a new champion so that the new champion can beat him.
Yeah.
Which is fine. He's still got star power. He's still got a radio show that gets more publicity than anything the NWA does.
That's fair. Yeah, you're right. He challenged Tyrus at Nuff Said back in 23. He challenged EC3 twice, once in 23 in December and in January in 24, and again challenged Tom Latimer in 25. So it seems like he would be, at the very least, someone who could be considered a potential challenge for that title.
I wouldn't want to see him wrestle Thrillbilly for the title. I just don't care. I think Thrillbilly needs somebody. It's Cardona. I'm just not convinced about. It's I know maybe I'm a little harsh on some of these guys.
No,
but I think that there's times like they need to bring in somebody that's more realistic, that he can go out there and have a banger with Thrillbilly. You know what I mean? Like I thought him and which I'm sure you're going to see probably pretty soon. I think that him and Tom, I thought, had put on a freaking banger. I thought it was a phenomenal match.
And
yeah, you popped huge.
I did.
And with that being said, like I'm with you on that one, Rick. I'm not a big Cardona fan.
No.
I do believe Cardona could help the brand, but I don't necessarily need to see him challenge for the world title. I wouldn't mind seeing Cardona challenge for the national title or the TV title as a way to kind of reestablish himself. And maybe he doesn't win, and that's okay too. But what if it was Brian Idol versus Matt Cardona? Two New York guys going at it, or what if it's the national champion defending against Cardona? Just because of who he is doesn't necessarily mean he should have a
That's 100% why, because it's not for us. It's not for anybody listening to this chat or follow the forum or that. It's for the people outside of the NWA, because you know what?
It's to
Cardona's a bigger star than everybody in the NWA right now.
It's to attract fans. Jaden's right. It's to attract people, the common folk, people that be like, hey, that's that guy that used to be in WWE. Stuff like that, So,
well, I mean, I can only speak for me.
Yes.
But I don't mind Matt Cardona coming in to face Thrillbilly, to let Thrillbilly get a clean or mostly clean victory over, because that helps Thrillbilly.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately. Now, I have no interest in Matt Cardona in any other roles. I mean, yes, you could bring him in to use his popularity in any other match. Me personally, I have no interest in him wrestling anyone else, with the possible exception of the Pope.
Huh. Okay.
Because people may have forgotten But when Matt Cardona first came in with Mike Knox, they did an injury angle with the Pope, which turned into a real injury. And then Pope actually kind of left shortly thereafter, or wasn't invited back, or whatever happened. But so, you could, if you really tried to drag the memory out of people, make the argument that there's something there that needs to be settled. And of course, the Pope is now back to challenge for the world championship.
Sean Mega actually agrees with you over on TikTok. He says Cardona versus the Pope would be fire. And yeah, I mean, like, look, to me, that would be an interesting way to use them. And if they called it a number one contenders match, and this is questions for Jaden, does that diminish his role at Saul Win? Does that make him less important if he's in a number one contenders match as opposed to a title match?
Yes, but not as much as people probably think, because the real draw is Matt Cardona. For the people outside who like Matt Cardona, it really matters little who he's against, as long as it's not against a little person.
Yeah, none of that, please.
Yeah, no Shorty Smalls, whatever the guy's name was.
Rolando.
No, well, yeah, or him too. I forgot about him even existing. I guess I have a short memory when it comes to him. But seriously, though, as long as he's not against, yeah, it is. Anyway, as long as he's not against Shorty Smalls or Peter Dinklage or wherever he's supposed to be against, then I think that's fine. The Cardona Matt will. The reason people are coming to Cardona is because of Cardona. He's got star power, whether you like it or not. He knows how to get himself over, knows how to make himself a star. Did it in the WWE, did it in other places. Ironically, the only place he really didn't make himself a star was the NWA, because the NWA is where most people get themselves under. But I think if done right, and I think if Cardona stays around, he could be an asset. Again, if they knew how to use him properly, he could be a major asset to the NWA. The problem is, I don't think that the NWA knows how to use him properly, and I think Cardona's just in this for a payday.
100% with the Cardona being there for a payday, and like that's okay. That, like, he's allowed to be there for the payday. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I will acknowledge this. When a couple weekends ago, I was in Arizona, I had the chance to speak to Mike Knox, and Mike Knox, when we were talking about Cardona specifically, I asked him, like, what was, how did you, change from being, this guy who is Cardona's lackey to being, teaming with Mike Knox, or with Trevor Murdoch. And he specifically said, hey, look, we knew Cardona wasn't going to be around. Cardona has like his next 6 months already booked. And if the NWA is lucky enough to have him on the card, they'll get him on the card. But if he's booked, it's not like he's going to, change those booking plans to be at the NWA. And, the NWA isn't booking 6 months out for sure. Mm-hmm. So
no, they book TV for 6 weeks and
see where it goes.
They let it sit in the vault for 6 months before they put it on and drive everybody nuts.
The NWA did announce the first match for Saul Win today, just a few moments ago, maybe an hour ago. And the first match announced, I think you guys are all going to like this one because we tend to like the meaty men slapping meat, but Hammerstone versus Murdoch.
I do like that.
I like that. Yeah.
2 former world champions, 2 former national champions.
And they were national champion at the same time.
Yes.
Because I remember back then saying, wouldn't that be an interesting matchup between the 2 national champions?
Well, and
let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys something. This is the type of match right here that I don't really need to know what the rest of the card is.
You're in.
This would make me buy a ticket, yes.
Yeah, I may not like any other match announcement that they make, but if I were in Atlanta or within driving distance, I would be there, early and with bells, as the old saying goes.
So you don't want to fly out there with me?
Oh, I'm too poor.
Don't worry, I'm too poor too. I'm not traveling anymore this year. If I was going anywhere, I would probably been Maple Leaf Pro with our good friend Timmy Alliance. But just looking up at this matchup again, they show the commitment to kayfabe for the NWA. I don't know if I love it or hate it, but they still show Trevor Murdoch with the NWA World Tag Team title on the poster. We know that that's just not the case anymore. We know that him and unfortunately Mike Knox lost those belts. Mike is out of commission for some time. We don't know how long he'll be out. This is a perfect match to, number one, get some mileage out of Hammerstone. If he's going to be around for a while, and it seems like he is, this is his third pay-per-view now, signature live event. It seems like he's going to be around for a while. So getting Hammerstone in a high-profile match with a former world's heavyweight champion, I think is a good look. And this, the winner of this match might be the guy that challenges Silas Mason at the next signature live event for the world's heavyweight championship. Any disagreement there?
No, that's something I'd like to see either one of those guys. Sorry, Jaden.
That's okay. I think the only problem with this match is now one of these wrestlers has to lose, and both of these wrestlers should be built up as future opponents for Silas. I personally, even though I absolutely am going to love seeing this match, I would have done Hammerstone versus Brian Idol and put the TV title on Hammerstone. Have him go whatever the stupid rule is and get a shot at Thoroughbelly, and then have Trevor Murdoch beat somebody and get a shot at Thoroughbelly.
And that Brian Idol match would have to be a squash, by the way. Just for
I'm going to go the DK theory of, even though I don't dislike Brian Idol like everybody else apparently does, I still have to go the DK theory if he has to put him through the mat.
Put him through the mat. Yeah, and look, I agree with what you guys are saying. I think I would have liked to seen Hammerstone win a title while being in the NWA. Specifically, the television title, I think, makes the most amount of sense. A short run with the TV title does not hurt anybody. It helps elevate the title. Putting it on a known commodity like Hammerstone, I think, would help elevate the title. It would certainly, Hammerstone doesn't really need to be elevated by the NWA. I think it's the other way around. And I feel like that would have been a good way to build towards a rematch with Silas Mason, or, a title match with Silas Mason. But I'm all right with this too, because I feel like Trevor Murdoch to me is kind of like Teflon. He could take the loss and still be a badass mofo, and we could still see, Trevor Murdoch get a world title match at some point in the next calendar year. Whereas we don't know how much time we have left with Hammerstone. So you got to maximize these opportunities. And I feel like everyone here said that this is a banger of a match. It looks great on paper, and it would definitely sell us a ticket if we were in Atlanta. Not one of us had mentioned, though, that we'd be willing to fly to Atlanta for this match. So, come on, Billy, let's see what else you got. This is a good one.
I'd be willing if I had money. But I'm going to make my most controversial statement of the night.
Let's hear it.
Something for me, like Hammerstone versus Murdoch. Yeah, I don't need a winner. I mean, if they did the old Bruiser Brody, Abdullah the Butcher,
okay,
where they spend, the first 10, 15 minutes in the ring beating the snot out of each other, and then the next 5-7 minutes being counted out as they knock each other all over the arena. Hey, I'd be a happy man. I'm not saying there shouldn't be a winner. I'm saying I don't need one to enjoy the match if they book it right. I don't want like a disqualification of other people running in.
I'm going to go on a hot,
like a no contest, just them going all over, like battling all through the arena floor, chairs flying, fans flying, all that stuff. Yeah.
Like
People
a good
running
old
away,
Puerto Rican
scared
match.
as all hell. Yeah.
I'm going to take a non-controversial hot take and bet that the loser of this match gets the next title shot.
Our pal over on TikTok, Sean Mega, says Murdoch or Hammerstone versus Mondo. So what, we're saying the winner of this match should go after Silas Mason, but what if this match is actually being leveraged to be the winner of this match challenges Mike Mondo in the national title at the next Signature Live event?
Here's what I would do. I would go with my double count out theory, and you put Murdoch against Mondo, and you put Hammerstone against Mason, because that's the fresher fight right now. We've seen them, and now Hammerstone wants his win back. So if you're going to do that, I'd rather see Murdoch go after Mondo.
Right.
I'm going to go this. I don't think right now the NWA has talent that they could push and build as future challengers. And I think Mondo is one of them. So again, I don't think Mondo, unless Hammerstone's not staying around, should face either of them, even though I would love the match. Selfish me would love it. The person who thinks about the long term, I think Mondo is another person that they should be building up for Thrillbilly. So they all three should be getting wins right now. Maybe Hammerstone beats up the TV champion Brian Idol, and then Carson Bartholomew Drake gets beat up by Trevor Murdoch. And who else don't we like?
I think you hit the three. You said Brian Idol. Oh, maybe one of the Slime Balls.
I could see money in the Slime Balls as much as it took me a while to admit that. So I don't think them losing to their. How about Damian Sandow? He manages Mondo. Never mind.
He doesn't really wrestle at this point. I mean, I guess he did, but
and I don't know why he's not.
By the way, Sean Mega also said, "Don't forget Mims."
Big, strong Mims. Him and Hammerstone would be fun.
I sometimes forget he's even on the roster.
It's
not, and it's really sad because he was like, there's so much potential to be a true star for the NWA there, and they didn't even do much with him. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
And it's been 5 years probably. How long has it been since Power? Yeah, 5 years since Power's premiere. 4 years. It's a drag, man.
What's strange is he's one of the. He may be the longest reigning national champion under Billy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to go look. But his reign isn't memorable in any way whatsoever.
Because they didn't give him anything as champion. And
I said that in one of his title defenses. It was like, because, we were grading him, and it's like, as a match, it was a B+ match, but because it was for the national title and neither one of them seemed to be like national, top contenders, it was like, it has to be a C because this shouldn't have been a national title match. And they never did anything to really make you go, okay, Mims, national champion, but it worked. They built him up. They did something with him.
Well, you are correct. He was the longest reigning national champion at 350 days. And while he was national champion, he defended against Burchill, Mr. Grimm, Mike Mondo, Wrecking Ball Legursky. These matches were not televised, but EC3 and Alpha Zoe, Max the Impaler, and then loses the title at 77. And the match that he had with Alpha Zoe and EC3, those were part of the Sacramento Grilled Cheese Festival. Alpha Zoe is a very talented guy. I wish he was in the NWA. I think he would fit in kind of nicely in that undercard. But
he should team it up with his cousin N.
Alpha and N?
Alpha and N, the Zoes.
Yeah, there you go.
The Zoe Bros.
The Zoe Bros. Sean Mega says, is Mims from Atlanta? No, Mims is from Clarksville, Tennessee. He is a product of Tried and True Pro Wrestling. And, yeah. So, look, if if the rest of the card is going to look something like this, I'm very excited to see it. We know Markova will have a title match, assuming she'll have a title match. We don't know what's going to happen with Tom Latimer. If I'm guessing, I believe that EC3 and PB Smooth might be looking to challenge for those World Tag titles. There's a lot more to be discussed. Of course, this was the first match that was announced. Saul Win does take place October 17th, center stage. A new set, a new place for the NWA. What's old is new again. Center stage historically was one of those taping areas for Jim Crockett Promotions, WCW. So it's kind of cool that they're going back there for this big event. Oops, that was the wrong clip.
Did you guys ever mention the retirement of one of the Colognes?
No, I did not hear of this.
I believe it was Epico Cologne retired.
Oh.
Because the Colognes were technically the number one contenders.
Yeah. Well, no, they're not. They lost the Crockett Cup.
They won the number one contenders match of the 77th, didn't they, Rick?
Yeah, it's gonna be something that happened weeks ago. I don't. I have to go look in my records. Bear with me.
Right behind you.
That was okay. That's funny. That's good.
Clever.
I guess it's not 100% certain. There's things saying that apparently he lost to Ray Gonzalez.
How many times do wrestlers retire and then not retire? That's my other question.
In World Wrestling Council, apparently he lost to Ray Gonzalez in what was supposed to be like a loser retires or something like that match.
When was that though? When was that match?
Rico?
When though?
Recently.
Because I'm
after the 77th.
So I'm looking at a
news story from September 2nd.
Okay. It's not listed on the cage match, which is not, that doesn't mean anything, right?
Saying here, but apparently it's more like a loser. He's treating it more like a loser leaves
Puerto Rico.
So
yeah,
maybe he comes back as a masked Mexican matador.
Oh shit,
maybe.
Sean Vega says it's probably an angle, and he said that the match took place on August 30th, so not too long ago. I mean, look, at 77, the Clones, you're right. The Clones did win that number one contendership by defeating BFT, the Slime Balls, and the Nightmare Sin. So,
Right.
yeah. Okay.
How come I'm the one with the most concussions, and yet I remember this, and I wasn't even there?
I'm the old. I think I'm the oldest one here, so that's probably my.
Yeah,
no, that's definitely DK.
Huh?
I never disputed it.
Oh.
I think actually DK might be the oldest gentleman in the chat, but
I'm 57, so.
Oh yeah. Well, wow. Jeez. That. No offense. I didn't mean it that way. But, you know.
That was a Kevin Hart moment.
All right, let me see. Hold on. How do I block certain people from this?
It wasn't a Kevin Owens moment.
Hey.
And I will remind everybody.
I didn't know
everybody. We have never seen Jay and Kevin Owens in the same room at the same time.
And I thought there was a possibility you were actually younger than me. So.
I wish.
Nobody said it was you. Nobody makes no list.
What? What are we talking about? I'm so confused. Our pal Luthes is in the chat. He says Jay's champion means nothing.
Well, his whole title reign meant nothing. The way he won it, and then the way, again, people think putting belts on you is pushing you, and that is a perfect example of no.
Yeah, Mims has never been pushed.
That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. There was a brief.
Not really. They've taken time to like put titles on him or to.
Yeah, but there was
more interesting. But they've never really pushed him.
I wouldn't say really pushed him, but I mean they would push him briefly. It seemed like, oh, he's they're doing something with him this week, and it seems like they're going to gear up to push him, and then, well, next thing you know, it was like a fart in the wind. It's gone.
Was it the Vince McMahon 3-week push?
Something like that. Yes.
2 things real quick. Sean Mega brings up, I have a feeling Mims versus Silas will main event Saul win based on those TV skits from Power. That's a very interesting point. He basically told Mims that he was going to give him a title shot when he won the title. That could be it. But then they could also put that as a TV match as well. There will be TV. There was TV taped before Saul win. The other part is, Mims has never had a main event push. He's never had really an upper mid-card push. He did have that run when he was kind of feuding with Tyrus, and at that point, Tyrus was the TV champion, and it kind of felt like they were getting ready to pull the trigger on a Tyrus or a Mims beating Tyrus for the TV title, and then they kind of, like you said, that 3-week push, they just like, nah, forget it. We're changing, going a different direction.
The most over Mims ever was when he was a guest on this show.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Sorry, man.
And he was over. I was a Mims fan after that. Everybody in this chat was a Mims fan after that. And I think he got punished for getting himself over.
Would that surprise you? Would there be a note that says, don't go on the Alliance Guys podcast? Otherwise, Billy will put... Sorry, Alex, if you're watching.
No wonder he's coming after you.
Sorry, Alex. He was a great interview, by the way. A lot of fun.
They never booked Wrecking Ball well either after he was on your show.
He got the win over Jay Bradley.
Can I be honest about something? Now that you just brought that up, Jaden, I never thought that they really booked Wrecking Ball well. Throughout the, because am I wrong? Like, I feel like for a guy his size, now mind you, he's from my area, so I watch him quite a bit, and he really gets into big beefy brawls with other big beefy guys. Like, they just have him kind of fall to smaller men in the NWA, which to me makes no sense. If I was Billy, I'd be just capitalizing a guy this big, and to me, Wrecking Ball is marketable. I mean, very marketable in the way he looks and just going in there and squashing people and having really great big battles. Put him in there with Knox, like a really good fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just always seemed like him and Jay Bradley were just kind of a comedic gimmick at times, or just kind of, to me, it just makes no sense for a guy his size to be treated like that and never really pushed the way that he was not pushed.
And the funny part about that is the only match I cared about that Mims took on was against Wrecking Ball. 2 guys that got under because of Billy's booking when they have the ability to be stars.
Like, I feel like there's so much promise, that there's so much that he could do with Wrecking Ball in the NWA to create a huge, gigantic star. And he's one of those, what do they call him? Good hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just does whatever he's asked to, whether just fall to a guy, that he's a guy like Rolando size or some BS like that. You know what I'm saying?
And I think maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe he's given too much. Maybe he's offered too much. Sean Mega says Wrecking Ball is Jim Duggan 2.0, and that might be how the NWA has used him. And I don't think that's the best use of him. I think he could. I agree with Rick and everything that he said. The dude has a lot of natural charisma. He gets himself over, but apparently not to the way that the NWA wants. But, now that him and Bradley have separated as a tag team, you have a lot more options of things you could do with Wrecking Ball Legursky. We haven't seen Legursky challenge for too many singles titles. Maybe he'll get some opportunity to challenge for the TV or the national as the stories will get unfolded. The other thing Sean Mega said that I thought was kind of poignant was that Poyo hasn't been back since they were on the podcast either. So,
hey,
Poyo, I'm sorry, Poyo, if you're watching, sorry.
Jay Cal, the career killer.
They're still working for the NWA, correct? Because I know, I think during one of their live streams, they said that they actually weren't at 77. So.
Yeah, I can vouch. I can tell you that Poyo was not at 77. Paul was not at 77. And I don't know if they are still with the NWA. I haven't really. I have an idea, but nothing has been confirmed to me. So
get on that there, Walter Cronkite.
Well, I mean, some things people don't want to talk about too, you know, like they'd rather not discuss those things publicly.
We could always find out, investigate.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
they were when I asked this question, they still were wearing an NWA Power T-shirt. That's all I'm saying.
You're a wrestling journalist, Jay.
Start acting like it.
Start acting like it.
Well, okay.
I don't know. I like both Paul and I like Pollo, and so.
Sean, I wish I could put the TikTok comments on screen because Sean Mega says, "Stay away from Jay." Well, you know, before we started doing this podcast, DK was a prominent member in the hierarchy of NWA personalities, and then he started doing this podcast, and well, he's not even working for the NWA anymore.
Damn.
I actually blame the episode that almost killed the Alliance guys for that one.
What I miss?
There was an episode where Jay couldn't do it, and DK and I were host, and Vordell Walker, who was a great wrestler and a great person, had the worst interview, I think, in the history of the Alliance Guys podcast. And it was so bad we never did another one for like months.
He was the second worst.
Who was the worst? Are you going to tell me Carson was worse than
Jason Kincaid?
Oh yeah, that's right. He was.
Are they still up on YouTube? They still up
No.
on YouTube? No.
No, they're
Damn.
These were all on the old
Blog Talk Radio. Killed Blog Talk Radio too. It was so bad.
We were working with another podcasting group, so we had our show on as well as theirs and another show, and collectively we were paying for the subscription to be on Blog Talk Radio. When they said, "Hey, we're done," we had to pull all of the audio off that site, and we didn't get all of it. So we lost some of those episodes. And like one of the ones that I really, really was upset about was I lost the interview that I did with Howard Brody, and that was some good stuff. And he was very insightful. We had the one with Bill Behrens, and I can't find that one either. And those were all really good commentaries on the NWA from when they were running the show, plus where the NWA was at that time. And unfortunately, those got lost.
Lance Cade, Doink the Clown, or Matt Bourne, which, you know, whatever on him. Tommy Cairo was a good interview back then.
We had the Lance Cade interview is still up. I transferred that onto YouTube, and some of those older interviews at some point we'll go back up on our Spotify account, which also goes to YouTube.
Might make good TikTok stuff too.
Yeah, and it's not stuff that I didn't want to do. It's just
you know who was a surprisingly good interview? Was Sean Tempers.
I know, I was not surprised. Not that one. He had charisma. He's one I wish he could have done more with the NWA. He had personality. I liked him.
Well, I really didn't know anything about him, and I really hadn't seen much other than just, you know, him wrestling on
Wildside.
Non-commentary shows, you know, stuff like that, NWA shows. So I didn't really know a whole lot about him, but yeah, he came across so good. And Jason Kincaid, who was one of the most charismatic in-ring promos or whatever. This is going to sound not how I mean it, but his interview was talking to a guy from Tennessee.
Yep.
And in the last minute, he cut a promo and everything, and he was in character, and it was just like, where the F was that guy for the last hour?
That's for sure. All right.
They even had the Tokyo Monster Cahagas with or without an N, extra N.
Cahagas came on quite a bit. There was a time there where Cahagas, Lance Erickson, and Damian Wayne would just pop on. And Kenny Garrett was also one of my favorite guests, too. That guy He was the best because I would ask him one question, and 30 minutes later, it's like, all right, time to end the podcast.
Oh, that was Fred.
Well, Fred was, yeah.
Controversial, but Fred was a good promo. He was good. He was entertaining. Fred can talk. You couldn't shut him up.
I had him on one time for an hour show, and I asked him one question.
Yes, and 2.5 hours later, the show ended.
He wanted to come on, and he had been on our show. He had been away from the NWA for a while. Dave Marquez was working with the NWA. He came on. We had a great conversation, and all Fred wanted to do was come on and dispute, debate, and critique what Dave had said. I'm like, I'm not really interested in doing that. If you want to come on and talk, about what you're doing now or some of the old history of the NWA, I'd love to do that, but I don't want you to just come on to tell me that my last guest was full of shit. I wasn't interested in doing that. And he had, that's all he wanted to do. And okay, Fred, well, if you change your mind, let me know. Cause that guy has a ton of wealth of knowledge of the NWA, especially in those, wilderness years. And I would have loved to have an in-depth conversation about him, about, Dennis Coralluzzo and how the world title was booked after ECW and all of that. And what, I don't think Fred was a part of the administration at the time, but he was certainly very in the thick of the NWA during all of what was going on with ECW and Coralluzzo and the fallout of that. And I would have loved to have that conversation, but he was just like, no, I want to talk about what Dave said. And look, man, I don't really want to do that. All right. That takes me to, we should be talking
done Power
about,
yet?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Power real quick.
Well,
look, it was 2 matches and you were there for both those matches. And I'll say this, man, I wasn't a fan of them putting Colby Corino into this matchup with Rhino. The history that Rhino and Tom Latimer had was enough that they could have done something with this. And I'm going to just pull up real quick here on Cage Match the matches that Tom has had with Rhino in the past, because they have passed Crofts quite a bit over the years. And, especially in the IWR, which is the promotion that Rhino is a very big part of. They battled for the IWR World Heavyweight Championship, a belt that Tom Latimer lost to Rhino. They had a steel cage match, also an IWR. They worked as a tag team, teaming together to take on Karam and Silas Young in May of last year. And then we had this match at Crockett Cup, and these two were kind of in the same circles leading up to this show. Like, they were both on those Maple Leaf Pro cards. They were both at IWR. I believe they were both at that show in the Circle Square Expo too, I believe. And we didn't get any kind of interaction between the two. And I almost feel like this is, again, the NWA had opportunity to make this a very special moment, and they dropped the ball. And then by including Colby, who Colby did earn a title match against Tom Latimer, I felt like he deserved to have a one-on-one match against Tom, because he did win the Jack Stain Memorial Tournament. He was really putting in some work there. And, unfortunately, Colby is hurt, and we don't know what his turnaround time is, if he ever will be able to come back to the pro wrestling ring. But I felt like that was a real disappointing matchup. And what could have been really special, I felt like was just kind of subpar. And the promos that were leading up to it were pretty good. The package was great, except for it's the same package they showed last week. If you're watching the show on a consistent basis, they're just kind of force feeding you the stuff that you've already seen. I wish they would, at the very least, have different, promos and different packages if that's what they're going to do. The interesting part about this match too is Tom was booed, and Tom has been working a babyface. We even said on this show that he might be better suited as a heel for the NWA, he's even said that he'd be better suited for a heel in the NWA. And the crowd in Philly booed the guy. And that kind of surprised me. I mean, I guess it shouldn't. And as Billy acknowledged on commentary, hey, they booed Santa Claus. What do you expect? And it was probably the most insightful thing Billy's ever said on commentary. In this match, I felt like Colby was there just to take the pinfall and do some cool spots during the match. There was a tribute to Sabu. So during this match, there was right before this match, there was a tribute to Sabu. So during this matchup, you heard the fans chanting for Sabu quite a bit. And it's not completely out of the realm that Colby, borrowed a few of Sabu's signature moves during this matchup. Colby, he's the prince of old school. His father made his name in the 2300. Rhino built his legacy in the 2300. And Tom won the 10 pounds of gold at the 2300. So each man had a very distinct connection to that building. And at the end of the day, Tom gets the victory after Colby gets gored by Rhino. And then Tom just kind of power bombs Colby for the victory. I didn't love this match. And especially if you would have saw the Nattie match that was before this one, you'd have been kind of disappointed too. It wasn't the best work at any of those guys in the ring. And yet Sean Mega just said in the chat, like, Rhino wasn't needed. I mean, I would have taken a Rhino versus Tom or a Colby versus Tom, but the triple threat I just felt disappointed with. Jaden, you were there in person. What do you remember about that match?
Hey, it came on at the wrong time. The Nattie match took all the energy out of that room. There was nothing left for the finals. There was nothing left for the world title match. I like Colby Corino. I always did like Colby Corino. Retrospect, I guess it was fine that he got his match in because he wasn't able. I don't think he wrestled after that point that I could think of. But yeah, it should have just. Unfortunately, though, it definitely should have only been Rhino versus Latimer. The whole triple threat thing was obviously because they, for some reason, they didn't want Rhino to lose. I don't know why. If Rhino was not going to lose, if something happened where Rhino was signed somewhere else, I don't know. But it should have been a one-on-one match. It should have been put on before the Nattie match because that's obviously why everybody was there because people left after that match too. A large chunk of people left after that match. And it was wrong. It was put in the wrong time. And it should have been a one-on-one match. That's really all. That's it. Tom should have got that signature win, that biggest win of his NWA title reign.
Yeah. DK, what did you think of this match?
Well, okay, I can find the mute button. I had a hard time with this match for two reasons.
What was the first one?
They kept interrupting it.
They did. They went to commercial during the after the match introductions, and I was like, that's kind of off-putting.
I mean, this match was very AEW, WWE. I think they interrupted it with commercials twice. I think.
Yeah.
At least once. Then, like you said, at the introduction, I mean, it was like they were pretty far into the show before they, actually started the match. So, one, they kept interrupting it. And then the second thing is I'm going to 100% disagree with Sean Mega. Rhino was the one that was needed in this match. Corino wasn't. And as soon as he got added, again, a lot of the crazy people that were on that one Discord channel, were like convinced Corino was going to win. Like, he's there to take the loss. And I was literally called a moron for saying that.
You've been called worse.
I have, but at least then they were correct when I was called those things.
Fair.
But, I mean, nobody would have given a shit about Corino versus Latimer. You're in the ECW arena. of course, these were the same morons that said putting Rhino in the main event just because it was ECW was stupid. So I question their brain activities. But obviously, and of course, Latimer was going to be booed. Rhino was going to be the hero of, EC3. He was the one that when they finally shut it down, when they had their last match, he was their unified champion. So, I mean, this was the guy. And sadly, we can't seem to have well-booked non-finishes anymore. Because there are ways to do this match where neither guy had to lose. Or at least, get pinned. Rhino could have got disqualified because he did an ECW thing or used a chair or, double count out that we had talked about earlier or double DQ because they both hit the ref. Something could have been done, something could have been done. And we didn't need Carino. Now, the other part, and the way this really showed to me in this match, is that Carino versus Latimer is one style of match.
Yeah.
Carino versus Rhino is another style of match.
Yeah.
Rhino versus Latimer is another style of match. And so when it was all three of them in there, it didn't work very well. And then when it was just two of them, well, you would have this one style match that would suddenly change to the other style match because it was the two different people. And again, kind of like all the commercials, it just kind of left you more dazed and confused than actually enjoying. So I must say, in an event that's been mostly solid for the Ruku thing, this was probably my biggest disappointment. And it was very obvious what Jaden said. The crowd just was dead during parts of it. Exhausted, been too long, something. Or, Nattie and Paige took all the oxygen, but it was very obvious that they were not into it.
Yeah.
Rick, are you playing with poker chips?
No.
Sounds like you're playing with poker chips.
I'm trying to fix one of my things while you guys are talking about power. So.
Oh, okay. Sounds like you're playing with poker chips.
Nope. I'm still here, though.
Did you win any big money on them? Do you buy the NWA now?
Poker chips.
No, I'm fixing one of my microphone thingy bobs. So we're good. We're good.
Next up, we got the recap of Smalls being attacked. That was Jaden's favorite moment of the entire Crockett Cup.
Not my favorite moment, but I did enjoy it. They needed to beat him up some more and then throw him into a dumpster.
You don't like small people, do you?
I will say
in short doses, yeah, they're okay.
He's a little biased. Sorry, go ahead.
I will say, whereas last week, kind of watching it, was that last week?
Yeah.
That it got to the point of being a little bit uncomfortable. But this week when they redid it, when they were just showing the highlights and stuff like that, I was more like Jaden. I was enjoying it a lot more. So
amazing. Go figure. You guys like watching little people get beaten up. That makes total sense because DK likes the videos where the kids get hurt in them.
Oh, only some of them. only the ones where the kid deserves it.
Honestly, it's not the kids that get hurt; it's the stupid people get hurt that we enjoy.
Fair enough. During this segment, Trevor said that they wanted to get paid. They wanted to be in the advertisements, and they said that they were missing something. And Knox went on this tirade about how he, as a young man, has always attracted the weak. And I was having trouble following him on this one. He was talking about how he's always had a hard time, just being around the weak people. And I'm like,
but they're all drawn to him. They're drawn to him.
They're drawn to him.
Which almost made it sound like he was insulting Murdoch at first.
I kind of was like, wait, what are you saying here? Are we breaking up? but ultimately that they needed to get rid of Smalls to get to the next level. And it's kind of interesting. Like this was like the big, Trevor's been in the NWA since they started, since Billy took over. Well, let me rephrase that. Since the Power started. Thank you. And the entire time he's been a babyface. So this is his first time working as a heel, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because he's a really good heel too. And this entire time he's been coasting by being a babyface. But now we're going to see a different Trevor Murdoch over the next few weeks. And I'm actually really excited about that because, a badass, Trevor Murdoch, like even when he kind of adopted more of the Harley-isms, he was still a babyface. He started talking softer and just more threatening. But now, like, he can be Trevor Murdoch the way that Trevor Murdoch should be, which is just a total legit badass. Then that gave us the promo for the Holy Grail, saying that it was just a miscue, that match was an accident, that that they'll get back to it. I mean, this was kind of a nothing promo. And then the last one was the Carson Drake promo, which might have been his best promo since he's been cutting promos in the NWA. And he said, hey, I tried to do it the right way by getting the NWA to give me back my title. I could sue them. It's very reminded me of somebody else. I could sue them. I'm not going to sue them, but I could have sued them because I never signed any documents. Maybe I should sue them, but I'm not going to sue them. It was just kind of funny. And I don't normally like Carson Drake, but this was a decent promo from him. And he reminded us that he can't be beat, which is kind of funny because just last month he was beat. Jaden, you're the only one that got to see these promos with me. What did you think of them?
He cut the promo in person?
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, brain fart. DK, you're the only one that watched the promos with me on Power. What did you think of the promos?
I enjoy Knox Murdoch. I like them as heels. Heels kind of fit them better.
Yeah.
It's a shame that Knox is injured. I do have a quick question. Was Carino hurt in the world title match, or
no,
did he go into the match hurt?
He wasn't hurt at that match. He got hurt after the fact. Colby Carino's actually, he after the triple threat match worked DPW. He worked the Juggalo Championship Wrestling. He worked PWF. He worked BCW. I guess what I'm trying to say is he worked quite a few promotions. He even did the TV tapings in Tampa after the Crockett Cup, had matches with GCW, was part of the Scenic City Invitational Tournament, and looked like his last match happened at the PWF Hot Summer. At least that's the last match that that is being reported by Cage Match. And then he was injured at a match, and it was said to be pretty severe, but I don't have any specifics about it.
Okay. Well, I
was about to say real quick, there's a benefit show going out to cover some of his medical bills.
That's great. It's good to hear.
Jaden, do you know what the injury is?
Neck, I believe.
It is a neck injury, yes. I think he suffered I think he was working with a somewhat broken neck or something.
Wow.
Or he had a broken neck, but it's not uncommon in wrestling, but I hope he gets better. So I hope it's going to be a long road for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't have an objection to him having I wouldn't have had an objection to him having a title match with Latimer for winning the tournament, but no, he should not have been inserted into the Rhino match just to take the pinfall. And
if he did work. So I'm trying to find the cuts here. If he did work the TV taping, that's when he should have got the title match, right at the TV taping. Go ahead, TK.
Yeah,
exactly. And because that would have been a better TV match. I mean, look, we all knew he wasn't going to win, but it would have been a good thing to do. Because, what they really did is they really blew that Jack Stang tournament. I'm sorry. They did.
You don't have to apologize to me.
And I don't have to apologize to anybody, but I feel bad that Jackson's name was attached to it.
I did too, but that kind of happened the minute I saw Max the Impaler's name on that.
With the number 2 seed.
Yep.
Yeah. And anyway, so I liked the Murdoch one. I didn't care enough about Carson Bartholomew Drake Weiner to pay that much attention to his promo. So I can't say whether it was one of the better ones or not. I don't like the character. I don't believe the character. I don't buy into the character.
Now you sound like me.
I think we've both been saying it at the same time.
Real quick, that's the Colby Carino benefit show Friday, October the 24th in North Carolina, for those of you who are interested.
Very nice. And I don't know. I think he should be redone. Maybe. He seems, I mean, I know he came from Exodus Pro, but he doesn't seem to be an EC3 guy. He seems more to be a Brian Idol guy.
I would have said an Aaron Stevens guy, but yeah, I get what you're saying. And you look, at the end of the day, he's young enough that if he, he's still very much a part of what's happening in the NWA. He's the WLW heavyweight champion, and he just had a shortly after his loss of the TV title, he had a big victory at Joe Kazana Promotions. He's going to be a territory guy. And maybe the belt that might have been best suited for him more than anything else might have been that Mid-America Championship. Although I love Jeremiah Plunkett, it seems like the person who's traveling the territories the most might be Carson Drake. But that leads us to, and I had these clips ready and I forgot to play them. So I don't think there's any audio with it because for whatever reason. But, this was the beginning of the matchup. And
that lighting does not do Colby Carino's hair very good justice.
No, his hair looked awful. I'm like, what happened to this? He's only 26 years old. Like, what's going on with this kid? But it definitely had a very kind of slow start to this match, and the whole let's triple tie up, that seems dumb to me. And if I'm world champion, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, very dumb. It just doesn't make sense. But whatever. It's wrestling today, right?
Yep.
Well, again, I hate multi-man matches, and some of this is the reason why.
That referee looks like Jim Brewer.
That referee looks like he should retire.
Well, I guess we won't be having him on anytime soon. And that leads us to the next match for the night, and that would be, again, the finals of the Crockett Cup. You have the team of Epico and Primo, the Colognes, in the ring with the Immortals, former the U.S. Tag Team Champions. Never really have had that opportunity to challenge against Murdoch's and for the World Tag titles. And, they did have the crowd in Philly really up on their feet. Odinson and Kratos are kind of like this era's version of the Legion of Doom. Not that they are, getting the biggest pops of the night, but because they're such powerhouses and they normally can just get in the ring and manhandle people. They did manhandle Epico and Primo, but, this match was meant to go back and forth to tell that story. And, it was a fine match. I feel like the right team won. I wouldn't have hated it if Epico and Primo won the Crockett Cup. I think that might have even added a little bit more legitimacy to the tournament because they were kind of, although they had been appearing sparingly throughout the 2024, they're not regulars for the NWA. At least they hadn't been. And they're former WWE Tag Team Champions. There's a lot of reason why you would put them over and have them win the cup. But I feel like, the best story for the NWA to tell would be Odinson and Kratos winning that tournament. And that's what happened. And Jaden, you were there live. You saw the match live. What did you think of that match?
It was okay. Again, it came after the Kenzie versus Natalia match. The crowd wasn't into it. It was okay. I really, honestly, in retrospect and probably in forethought, would have done them versus Murdoch's last. I think that would have been the best match to end the Crockett Cup based on the teams that were in there. Epico and Primo are fine. They're former tag team champions. They're good wrestlers. It was just a C. Nothing special. It wasn't the worst match of the Crockett Cup. Those were the matches with Talos. But, and he is, it just, I don't know. It was okay. It wasn't the big final that really. The problem with these two last matches, I mean, obviously the Crockett Cup finals had to be one of the last matches, is the crowd just wasn't there, and it was just okay. And now that the Roku series is there, this is where, if they would have done this match, then maybe show the Natalia match, it would have been exciting and it could have built to something.
Yeah.
But they didn't even use that match.
And lastly, DK, you saw it. You watched it. What were your thoughts on it?
My thoughts were, I'm glad this is the last of these tapings. The match itself was, I'll use the word I've used kind of for the shows. It was solid. It wasn't a great match. I wouldn't even say it was a overly interesting match. It was a solid match. I would have expected this to be more like a semifinal thing. I think Jaden's kind of right, because I would say the best match of the Cup was probably the Immortals versus Murdoch's. And this one probably would have been a better semifinal. And I don't have anything bad to say about it. I think the right team won the Cup. And it did lead to the right match at 77. So no complaints, but yeah, it didn't set me on fire or anything, in a good or bad way.
So, and I guess, that's kind of the disappointing part. And again, you had that Nattie match just there, and had that been the main event of the evening, perhaps maybe more of the audience would have been there for the last two matches. It was kind of we had this really good Crockett Cup, and then like the last two matches weren't great. That Nattie match, I can speak from professional opinion. I was there live. One of my favorite matches the NWA's done in a very long time, and certainly made the Crockett Cup a must-be at event, apparently. Sorry, guys. This was still one of my favorite events that I've been to since they left Atlanta, since they left the PBS studios. This to me was one of the better events. I was at Crockett Cup, 2024 with DK. DK and I were at Hard Times 3. I've been at the anniversary show in 76 and 75. I've been to a couple of the TV tapings, and this was my favorite event that I've been to under the NWA banner since they left Atlanta. But it certainly ended on a whimper and not with a bang.
Hey, Jay, I have an idea.
What's that now?
If you can find some person who recorded that match from Nattie versus Kenzie, maybe you could find it and we could play it here on a thing and have a couple of us talk about it as a way to maybe so people could see that match.
Well, I mean, it's available on YouTube, but we put it up there. It's there. anyone could go watch it. But yeah, we could certainly do that. We posted it in the Discord. It's posted. I posted it the next night because I did not want to wait. I didn't want people to wait to see that match. I don't feel like they should have had to have waited. And again, going back to the whole problem with the NWA, like it's a grind to expect people to be excited about your product when it's been in the can for a month and a half before it makes TV. And that's a problem and a discussion for another time. We're going to wrap it up here, though, because we are over that 2-hour threshold, and I don't think I could talk much longer than I have been. So I'm going to give first, Rick, you have the floor. What's coming up for you? What would you like to talk about?
This weekend. Crap, hang on. Let me find it. I got it right here. I will be in Rhode Island at the Misquamicut Fall Festival. It's a joint event between Pure Vanguard Wrestling, United States Wrestling Federation, and Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. 2 shows. Jesus Christ, I wish I could have made it 12:30 and 5 p.m. So there's 2 shows. I'll be doing commentary, lots of stars from the Northeast, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut area, taking part in these 2 events. And that's pretty much it, what I have going on.
All right. And Jaden, what do you have coming up next?
Well, on October 2nd at the Rowan College of Burlington County, there will be a free event for the students of Rowan College of Burlington County. I'm sure it's not too late to get signed up to that school, so you can make sure you can get free wrestling. I know Falaba will be there. The Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Heavyweight Champion, which will either be Connor the Flag Boy or Vinny the Fixer, because they're wrestling this weekend for the championship. So the winner of that match will be there. David Goldie will be there. The World Wrestling Grand Prix champion, David Goldie. You also have the WWGP Women's Champion, Valerie Verman, will be there. The Dog Tag Team Champions, I believe, are going to be there. So there's going to be all kinds of great wrestling action. And, of course, Dave Dahl will also be there. And then after that, Jay, sorry.
I was just going to say, and you guys, not you, obviously, but those who are working the production for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators have done a pretty good job of getting those matches up on YouTube relatively quick. So fans of Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators should subscribe to that YouTube channel if they haven't done so already, because even though you're not a student, if you're not a student, you could still see the action just on a tape delay on YouTube.
Possibly, because I don't know if we're going to be recorded on this one.
Oh,
so yeah, we'll find out. I don't know where it's. I know where I'm helping out negotiate to get that to happen. So I hope it does. And then after that will be the Sacred Heart Church, located at 103 4th Street in beautiful historic Riverton, New Jersey. All the champions, whoever the champions are, will be there. And it's going to be great professional wrestling action at the Sacred Heart Church at Riverton, New Jersey on October 18th. It's a Saturday, and it's an 7:30 bell time. So make sure you get tickets on that. I know they're waiting to put some matches out there. There was originally somebody scheduled, but unfortunately they fell off the face of the earth, and I don't think they're going to be there. But we'll find out, I guess. But yeah, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators action, all the great professional wrestlers of Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, and of course Daredevil Dave Dahl will be there also. Unfortunately.
Now, DK, I know that there was some issues with oops, that's supposed to be me. There were some issues with the title match that was going to happen in the next couple of weeks for IHWE. Is there anything else, any new information, or do we have a new date set up, or is that still in progress?
Yeah, for those that don't know, due to some controversy surrounding the promotion that was scheduled to host the match, proof that not all controversy is good controversy. Several people have stopped working with that promotion, for now at least, and that has caused the ladies' match to be canceled. And I'm still working with both wrestlers who were scheduled to be in it. The Mistress of Metal, Victoria Mosh, and Bombshell Haley Danielle. I'm negotiating with the building at this particular moment, and I don't know if we'll have something by year end, but we'll probably have something just after the first of the year.
So I guess that's going to do it for us tonight here on the Alliance Guys podcast. We do appreciate you guys tuning in each and every Thursday night and making us part of your wrestling viewing habits. We will be back next week. There will be a whole new season of the NWA, and this will be fresh for us because none of us were at those TV tapings. So we'll be watching on Roku just like you guys. Well, not Jaden. For Rick, for DKM, for Jaden, my name is Jay Cal. Thank you for hanging out with us on this Thursday evening. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Thank you for watching the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation news and information. Did you know that we do 3 streams a week? Stay tuned to youtube.com/the Alliance blog for all that and then some. We'll see you soon at the